Hey everybody, Spaz here, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of But Is It Power Pop? I've got lots of stuff here, and I hope at least some of the stuff tickles your fancy. But remember, I'm not here to define what power pop is. I'm here to say what I think is power pop, what's power pop adjacent, but mostly to introduce some people to music that they may not be familiar with. And that's really the point of these videos. So I'm going to start right now with one of everyone agrees that this is probably one of the greatest power pop bands of all time. They are called the Rubinoos. And this here is a 3 CD box set. Everything you want to know about the Rubinoos, but we're afraid to ask. This came out quite a few years ago. Basically, it collects the first two Berserkly albums, plus the Basement Tapes collection, which was the first album with new kid Al Chan. But this actually has bonus tracks as well, and it is fantabulous. If you can't find this in stores, try the Rubinoos label, the Pop Plus One label, and they actually might have some in stock. If you have the Japanese editions of the albums, or if you have the 3 CD set that features, I think it's called like the Vinyl Collection Part 1 or something, that has most, if not all of this. But this is a nice little thing. This came out long before that stuff did and was very highly welcome in my collection. Here's a band that is not power pop, but you might as well call them power pop. It's the Undertones. Sorry for the autographs there, but this is the first album, self-titled The Undertones. Undertones were called the Irish Ramones, and boy, that fits. Fergal Sharkey's voice is a little hard to get used to sometimes, but it's just non-stop, hit after hit after hit. Well, I mean, maybe not literally, but everything sounds like a hit, and the CDs have bonus tracks. This is the original UK cover of the album, and has bonus tracks as well. But there's different variations of this first album, but it's something that every pop loving fan should get. It's got that buzzsaw Ramones guitar with these great melodies on top, and it's just the Undertones, absolutely fabulous. Next up, here's one that some people might go, hey, that's not power pop, Spaz, and it isn't. But if people kind of don't know what power pop is and they're watching this video, this is a great power pop-ish album. All the trademarks of power pop are here. Absolute. This is really kind of like the foundation, the formula, the blueprint for power pop would be that album. Speaking of the Beatles, this is one that's dedicated to my friend Matthew Street, because at least a year ago he asked me to talk about this. It's Ringo Starr, Time Takes Time. This is actually a great pop record. Is it power pop? No, but it has all the elements of power pop. In fact, one of the songs, Golden Blunders, is a Posies track that Ringo recorded. There are tracks, produced by Jeff Lynne, but it's really a fine pop platter that I think everybody should at least check out. Ringo's albums have sort of followed the same formula for the last 20 or so years, 25 years. So if you like some of his more recent stuff, this is right up that alley and definitely deserves to be listened to. So definitely check that out. Here's something, it's great pop, but it's not power pop. And this is a fantastic edition that everybody should get the moment it hits the shops. It's Freiheit, a German band who are actually in Germany. They are known as Munkner Freiheit, and they sing mostly in German, but there's a handful of albums that are in English, this being one of them. This is actually on the Cherry Red label, and it features the American and German versions of the albums with loads of bonus tracks. You can pause and look at some of those bonus tracks. This is fantastic pop. The way I always describe it is if Paul McCartney fronted ELO and they performed Europop music produced by Bjorn and Benny from ABBA. Now, this is really slick, really 1988 polished slick. But Stefan Zahnauer's voice is very McCartney-esque, and a lot of these melodies are very much influenced by Paul McCartney, ELO, Beatles, things like that, and they should definitely be checked out. Keeping the Dream Alive is the big track off of this album. So if you want to do a search on the Tube of You and type in Freiheit, Keeping the Dream Alive, you'll probably fall in love with it and have to get that. This actually has a couple different versions of that, including an extended mix that has this very Brian May-like guitar solo that's just quite beautiful. Freiheit Fantasy, that is available. So, and an artist that every time I hear him, I love the stuff he records, but I don't own anything by him until Rick Worrell, the host of Chasing the Essential, which is on Woody Radio on Thursday nights, he kindly sent me a copy of this. And boy, this is amazing. He's very power pop, but also he's got a lot of Joe Jackson in there, Elvis Costello. You know, this really urgent, melodic, powerful, poppy music. And this is just a great collection. It's called Brand New B-Sides. And every song is a winner. And it should definitely start collecting Kurt Baker. I'd love to start collecting him. I don't always have the money to do so. But if I stumble across something, I got to get it because he's just really talented. And let me see. The next thing, this is a gentleman by the name of Everett Almond. If you like the Toms, but you want it to be a little maybe edgier or maybe a little rougher, this is definitely the guy. He's basically a one-man band, writes great pop tunes. Maybe, let's say it's the Toms meets 90s indie alternative, but doesn't sound like indie alternative, and doesn't sound like the Toms, but sort of a nice little blend of those. Lots of great songs. Definitely something to check out. This is available on Cool Cat, which is a great little distributor and label over there in Jersey. You should definitely check that out. It's absolutely fabulous. Everett Almond, this is self-titled. I believe he has a couple collections of tracks that were like home demos that they just threw together, but these are tracks that he recorded specifically for an album, and it's fabulous. Speaking of Cool Cat music, Paul McCann, Here Comes the Rapture. This guy is just killer tunes. Great songs, powerful. Is it power pop? Yeah, I'd say it really falls into that. But you know, it's got this real British sense to it, and it's got some psych in there, and it's got a lot of other things. But it's really a nice collection of songs. Also available on Cool Cat. Paul McCann is definitely someone that you should be checking out because this is a great record. This is definitely in my top 20 of 2018. Let me see here. English Beat are not known for being pop, but if you think about songs like Best Friend off of their first album, and that's really jangle pop as opposed to ska. And a lot of the tracks on this album sort of follow that trend. There's two different versions of the beat. There's the beat featuring Ranking Roger, and there's the English beat, which is Dave Wakeling. And they're located here in California. But this is the album they put out at the end of last year, and it's absolutely fabulous. Lots of great material on there. And if you're expecting a ska record, it's got some elements of that, but it's just a lot of great songs that definitely fall in the guitar pop category. Not power pop, but definitely something that you should really, really enjoy. Speaking of which, power pop is a subject that divides everybody. In fact, this gentleman here, Mick Terry, put out an album called Days Go By. He's got a song on there called Pop's a Dirty Word. It's not referring to power pop, but it may as well be. This is absolutely stellar British pop. I recommend it. Like I said, go to Bandcamp and listen to some of his stuff. I think he may have a couple videos here on the Tubes of You. But definitely, if you go to Bandcamp, listen to the song called Pop's a Dirty Word. And that is definitely probably one of my top 3 favorite songs of 2018. Mick Terry. You can get this through Cool Cat Music. Also, right there. If you can see that. Cool Cat Music. Let's go a little bit back in time. This is the Bongos. This is the CD that came out on Razor and Tie that features their Numbers with Wings EP and the Beat Hotel album, both on one disc. This is Richard Barone. He's like the Paul McCartney of alternative rock. You know, great songwriting. He's got a great voice. He's got great personality. He's not the only guy in the band, but he's the one who people might be more familiar with because of his solo material and a lot of the other things he does. But the bongos, stellar, absolutely stellar. Everybody loves the bongos. Now let's talk about XTC. But no, let's talk about the Dukes of Stratosphere, which is XTC under a pseudonym. This is the debut album, or the debut full length. This is not power pop. This is more psych pop. It's sort of their tribute to 60s psych pop, The Summer of Love and all that stuff. But the song Vanishing Girl by the Dukes of Stratosphere, also known as XTC, is one of the greatest power pop songs of all time. Just stellar from beginning to end. The rest of this is more experimental, more psych, but still great fun and great melodies. And you should definitely check out the Dukes of Stratosphere. Here's a band that I know little about, but I do have some CDs here. A band called the Lolas. This is the American version of their album Silver Dollar Sunday, which, in my opinion, one of the prime power pop songs of all time. Silver Dollar Sunday. This is that album. I also happen to have the Japanese version, which came out on the Wizard and Vinyl label. And I've got two other CDs by the Lolas. And great guitar-fueled power pop that will tickle your fancy if you hadn't heard them already. Like I said, I mean, even if you just go and type in Lola's Silver Dollar Sunday, wait till the end of the video or open up a new window or something. Lola's Silver Dollar Sunday. Incredible song. If you like hooks and harmonies, it's going to blow your mind if you haven't heard it already. But still, even if you've heard it already, go listen to it. It'll still blow your mind. Here is a band that I got into many years ago. A band called Liars Club. Drop Dead. Great, talented band. I believe they're from Washington somewhere. Washington State or maybe Portland. Whatever. They're from the Pacific Northwest. Great pop. I don't think they ever tried to be a power pop band. They just tried to be a good guitar pop band. And they came up spades there. Lots of great stuff here. This is the album that introduced me to them. Lots of great stuff there. And these guys can really write a song. But then I went back and got these, Evolution number 9, or Evolution 9. It's a great album title and cover. Those two albums there. Once again, great guitar pop, indie guitar pop. And then finally, they after the Drop Dead album, they broke up, but then they reunited, I don't know, a handful of years ago, and they put out this album. And that's great. But that's not all from them. See, the guys are talented, and they've used their talents in other departments. Scott McPherson, I don't own or have not heard Tiny Volcano, but that's one of his projects. But the McPherson Grant album here that came out last year is fantastic, and it kind of reminds me of sort of XTC meets Prefab Sprout a little bit, and it's really fantastic. Scott McPherson is also in a band called Pop 4 with Casey Bauman from Fireproof Sam, from the Corner Laughers, from the Agony Ants. Super talented guy. But this is him and some other fine folks, including Scott McPherson from Liars Club. Jason from Liars Club is in a band called Vanilla. And there's their stuff. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing stuff that these guys have put out, but they're super talented, great songwriters, great vocalists, and you should definitely check them out. I think I may have talked about this one before. It's the Punkles, doing punk rock versions of Beatles songs. You think that sounds neat? Well, it's kind of gets old after maybe about 37 seconds or so, but I just thought I'd share it for you. It's definitely not power pop, but what the hell, right? Last but not least, I have a CD here by a band called Pop Dudes. Yes, that is correct. This is Pop Dudes. This is a band formed by John Borak, who's best known as being an author, a music scribe, a power pop fan. Him and Michael Simmons, who was in Sparklejets UK, as well as lots of solo stuff. This, plus, they've got a bunch of other people on there, but there's a bunch of cover versions on there, and there's some originals, and it's definitely worth checking out. The version of Logical Song by Supertramp is fantastic. That's a lot of great songs. I'm just pulling one out of the hat there. But you can't buy it on its own. You know why? Because you need to buy John Borak's book, Shake Some Action 2.0. This is power pop in print. You should definitely, this is list. This is like the top 200 power pop albums. And it's got a lot of words in it. And it's got some pictures too, but a lot of words. And words are made up of letters. So you have to learn how to read. But yeah, that is absolutely fantastic. Just tons of great stuff in there. Lists and information. It's got interviews with many of the artists. I even wrote something in there, but I still had to pay for the book. But anyway, definitely need to check that out because it's not going to be in print for long. That is right. And look at Not Lame. Bruce Brodeen had a lot to do with that book. But anyway, that is it. I've still got more stuff in these boxes back here in the closet, on my shelves on both sides. So I'm going to be trying to make as many of these videos as I can because you know what? One day I'm going to die and I'm not going to be able to make these videos anymore. So I'm going to make them while I'm living. I'm living the pop life, enjoying the music, and I hope you are too. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll smell you later.